Okay, guys, what is Vaporwave? That is...
Vaporwave?
Vaporwave! That's the question.
What is Vaporwave?
I'm ethnic, I'm sorry. I really don't know, and I'm kind of confused. It's this really big genre that's happening, it's up and coming, so I hired my music buddy here to tell me all about it.
I've been really excited to make this video for a while, and I wasn't sure when I was absolutely ready, and I feel like I've entrenched myself in this genre enough to do a 101 kind of for you guys and let you know what Vaporwave is and why you should be listening to it. Describing Vaporwave, A, makes it sound stupid, and B, is really difficult. We asked a few people in the community, as well as some artists, to give their spin on what Vaporwave is to them, so check it out.
It's kind of like the transcendence of modern barriers of music, and as an art form, I think it's quite subjective, like you'd expect art to be. And nonetheless, I think Vaporwave is quite awe-inspiring, and it almost sounds like a story when you listen to it, which is a unique experience.
Vaporwave is nostalgia with a dystopian.
To me, Vaporwave is like one big joke, but a serious joke, if that makes any sense. What started off as more of a parody of consumerist culture has turned into its own serious genre based off of that original joke. As much as it's serious, it's also not.
Vaporwave is important to me because of my strong connection to 90s R&B. The chopped and screwed-esque scene has come together with really cool visuals and aesthetics to create a completely new world of music.
What it is today is sort of somewhat of a meme, as some outsiders may see it. But I think initially it started out as kind of a joke, a play on the corporate 80s, 90s music, the intention to focus in on the aesthetic, which was sort of a play on vaporware. You know, companies promising something that will happen in the future, but they don't really follow through. The future technology is going to change everything, but it's not. And so let's sort of pick fun at that. Let's sort of make fun of that, this global capitalistic economy, which is we're not really seeing much of a solution economically. Initially, Vaporwave had this sort of punk aesthetic that was like, we're not trying to be like anything, we're just trying to make crazy music, and it was art. Really, Vaporwave may be the voice of our generation.
That might have been just as confusing as not having watched those, but it's just something you speak on from the heart. And Vaporwave is not just a genre of music, it is an art form, or an aesthetic, and also a lifestyle to some people, which is kind of cool. Vaporwave focuses on a lot of evoking nostalgia in the listener or the viewer, and it takes a lot of nostalgia from the 80s and 90s, from consumer culture, and it's almost a dark commentary on the bad parts of what it is to be commercial music or a consumer, and it does it wrapped up in a neat little bow, so you have to really think about it to understand what it means, which is cool.
Interesting. And what other forms of music or types of music can we compare it to?
That's the thing about Vaporwave. It has so many ties to other genres, and people are inventing genres to fit into Vaporwave. I'm going to tell you some of the genres that exist in the Vaporwave realm, because there are so many.
Okay.
And it's crazy. So one of the biggest genres is ambient music. So it's not quite ambient though, because Vaporwave always has a slight differentiation between the genre it's based off of and what Vaporwave is, and you can kind of tell when you listen to it. But a popular Vaporwave-ized genre of ambient is mall-soft, which is basically evoking kind of the music you'd hear in like a 90s shopping mall, but like in the background. Like it's good background music to kind of just zone out to, or to do other things while it's there. Okay. And it's really peaceful. It's like going to like a Kmart in like 1997 and just walking through the aisles.
That's the perfect description. Okay, cool.
Then there's people like Skylar Spence, who's also known as Saint Pepsi, who are doing that kind of future funk kind of sound, which is a genre on its own, but the Vaporwave version is, you know, it's that funky sound that isn't quite funk from the past. It's more like funk
Future funk.
that hasn't happened yet. There's also a lot of elements of smooth jazz and lounge music, elevator music. It's all meant to be relatively peaceful, at least for half of the vaporwave genre. It's not. There is a harder side, which they also have hard vapor and vapor trap.
Vapor trap.
Vapor trap is awesome. It's like trap music, but just like a cloudier, kind of just like relaxing version with the trap beats, and it's very like cerebral.
So slow crumping.
Slow crumping, exactly. Then there's echo jams, which is a very specific type of music. It kind of takes, it's like takes chopped and screwed R&B and kind of very repetitive. And one of the first releases in the genre, Chuck Person's Echo Jams Volume 1, is one of the pioneer albums that he does. That he takes a lot of like pop songs. He takes this like a JoJo song and he slows it down, and he just slows it down and repeats it for like 10 minutes straight. This hook, but the beat is just so entrancing. It's
very interesting.
It's really weird and cool. But then there's also vapor noise, which is kind of noise music and the vaporwave aesthetic. And then there's signal wave, which is one of my favorites. It's actually taking old sounds from like old television, old VHS, like weather programs and stuff like that.
Subway, Metro.
Yeah, like repurposing. It's the kind of found sound version of vaporwave where it takes a lot of you like basically sample old sounds that are nostalgic, but you're not quite sure why. And all of these genres put together, they sound off the wall, but they're able to wrap it up in a way that is so pleasant and enjoyable to listen to. It's just, you get addicted. I can't stop finding new releases, and the crazy part is it's coming out in such a rapid amount of time. Since 2012-ish is when it kind of first started. The first big albums were, like I said, the Chuck Person album, which is actually the guy behind One O Tricks Point Never, which is a really good experimental electronic band. He made that as like a fun side project, almost as a joke, but it took off. And then James Ferraro, who's a great electronic experimental artist, did Far Side Virtual, which I'm going to show you the record of in a second.
That's really cool. So it's definitely a huge genre that you can kind of immerse yourself in and find a whole bunch of side genres.
If you go on Bandcamp, there is an endless amount of vaporwave. You could listen to it like a new album every day for the next like 10 years.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That is so cool. I can't wait to get my hands on this. So I've been looking through your collection of cassette tapes, and the covers are really cool, kind of different. Tell me a little bit about that.
The covers are part of the aesthetic, which is a huge factor, like the clothing, the fashion, of like it fits vaporwave, but the covers are so cool and they're so ironic and like parody, but I love them. Like a lot of the spines on the cassettes are, let's say, like Genesis or Sega Saturn, and it just takes old 1990s concepts mixed with like East Asian culture and weird color schemes
and the
future and like cityscapes and stone busts and like old like sculptures. It's so bizarre, but I just resonate with it for some reason.
It's very you. Definitely.
And Crystal Pepsi. Vaporwave culture loves Crystal Pepsi. I don't know why.
Knowing you have a lot of records and tapes. Can you show me some?
I think I can. So Vaporwave lives predominantly on cassette, which is why I started getting into cassettes. Got this bad boy on eBay.
Just walks around listening to music with that.
I love this. This is such a wonderful thing. A Walkman Sport. It actually sounds really good because vaporwave, it's kind of lo-fi by nature. So cassette tape brings out the best of it. It does, however, have some vinyl releases, and I happen to have a fair amount of them, so I'm going to show them to you.
Of course you do. Let's see. So this artist, Saint Pepsi, actually had to change his name.
Yeah. Maybe he should have been Saint Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah, because he was getting in trouble because of the Pepsi.
Right, but he changed it to Skylar Spence, and he makes great music still. This is a little more the vaporwavy side, though. This is actually his future funk debut, probably, with Fiona Coyne and Fall Harder. I managed to get the 7-inch before they had to change the name, which is cool.
That's awesome.
And then Hit Vibes. It just comes in a promo sleeve. It's the only Saint Pepsi vaporwave release on vinyl, officially. This is actually really hard to find. This is a couple tracks off of Late Night Delight, which is Luxury Elite and Saint Pepsi doing a split cassette, which I have the cassette as well. 50 copies. Illuminated Path, that's a label. They pressed this lathe cut, and I just found out after I bought it, it sold out within like an hour or less, but I found out that the artist didn't get any kind of compensation, so I feel kind of bad owning it, but it's not like I'm going to throw it out. It's cool, and people still want it, but it kind of sucks. You should definitely kick back to the artist whenever you can, so
yeah.
Shame on you, IP.
It's a banana rocking.
I think it's a moon.
No, it's a banana.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Moon or banana?
Banana. It's like banana pajamas.
That's a moon. It's for sure a moon. So as an artist, George Clanton, you might remember if you're a diehard Damn It Sandy fan that I had his album 100% Electronica on my top 10 albums of 2015 video.
Yes, I do remember that.
I hope you do.
I do, I really do.
But this is the album on vinyl, and when I bought it at the time, I didn't really understand what Vaporwave was, and it kind of blew up in my world after that, so I'm glad I got this before it became a commodity.
This is Rainbow Pizza.
Rainbow Pizza.
Like, these covers are, I think, the best covers of all of music.
He has a bunch of other side projects, though. So, I got these around the same time as 100% Electronica. These are the most bizarre covers. Esprit, which are these 2 7-inches that he released under the name Esprit. And he has another project that's a little more synth-wavy, a little more synth-poppy. It's called Mirror Kisses, and I have Heartbeats, which is the first album, and I also have the second album, but I can't find it. I was looking for it before the video, and it's just lost in my records somewhere, but I have the other one too. Also on Clanton's 100% Electronica label is a band called Surfing, and the album Deep Fantasy. This is
so 80s.
It's so good, and this is the first pressing of it, which is pretty hard to find, and it's on clear vinyl, which is nice. This is probably my intro to Vaporwave. This was an album that Matt Bennett recommended to me. It's called Farside Virtual by James Ferraro.
Would you
Disney side.
Would you recommend for people to actually start with that?
This is a great one to start with if you're trying to break into the genre. And Matt described it as a city powered by iPads, and I feel like that's a really, really good way to describe this album. I think it's a perfect first listen into
the Vapor.
It's also on clear vinyl, which is cool. This is an album by Kionpom called Siberia. There's 100 copies. I have number 18 out of 100. And this is a fun Vaporwave album.
Ooh.
It's on this like plum see-through.
Plum blood.
There's an artist called Vaperror. I don't know why she finds that funny.
Vaperror.
Vaperror Monopool. This is a really good vapor trap album. It is. And then 2 of my most proud to own records are by a band called 2814. We've talked about them before in the past. This is Birth of a New Day.
I've heard that one, actually.
And this is Rain Temple. This is a supergroup in the Vaporwave community. It's 2 of my favorite artists, actually, Hong Kong Express and Telepath. And they made this group where they just do these awesome like soundscapes, and it's ambient with some great beats thrown in, and it's just very introspective. I think these are 2 of the best launching off points as well if you're trying to get into the more ambient side of Vaporwave.
I worked out to the Telepath one. I don't know, it was like really relaxing and cool.
Telepath is so prolific. He has released like 3 dozen albums. Some of them are in something called the Virtual Dream Plaza, which is all meant to be listened to while you sleep. And I've been listening to it while sleeping, and I think it's genuinely enhancing my sleep. I love it. These 3 rows are Vaporwave. These are not Vaporwave over there. But yeah, it's kind of like you start buying, and then you keep wanting more. And they're just, I love like
these
the
titles.
Art, the titles, like this one, Disney Cruise 1998. And it's just, it's made to look just like an old cassette, and it has great music on it. We have Auto, who's one of my favorite Vaporwave artists, and Tech Noir is his alter ego. There's so much good stuff to listen to, and the physical releases are awesome.
Oh, that was so informative. Thank you, Matthew.
This is hopefully a good launching pad for you to start diving into the ocean, listening to some echo jams.
Vaperocean.
Vaperocean. New genre coming up. No, they already have sea punk, so it's crazy.
Sea punk. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool.
So it's too hard to talk about all the artists I like, especially since most of them are just Japanese characters, so I can't pronounce them. But I'm putting in the description all of the artists I like and a bunch of the labels that I like that you should support by buying their cassettes if they're not already sold out, because they sell out very fast, especially if they're good.
Let us know if you like Vaporwave, if this is a new thing that you've never heard of. We just want to know everything that you're thinking about in the comment section below.
Let us know. Please subscribe, give us a like, and we have more great videos coming your way. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sandy.
And this is Damn It, Sandy.